I gotta do all that just to even feel like I'm a successful at being a man.
I know what I know, but I also know what I see. I don't see, it don't look good.
Was there ever a time when you were afraid we wouldn't make it and what got us through?
Ooh, child.
Welcome to The Right Connection, Beyond the Vows, a special series where we dive deeper into the stories of couples who've built their marriages on love, faith, and purpose. In each episode, we'll explore the journey that begins after the vows are exchanged and the strength that keeps their bond strong.
Okay. Are there past challenges we've overcome that you believe have fortified our relationship?
Yeah, I would say with that situation with mom and you work from home and so upon where you couldn't work. So it was only my income bringing in for the house, and we just got pregnant with Maya. So, obviously things were tough financially. So we went through that. Just made us both realize that our marriage is built on God alone and not material things, because we always saw it through. We never really, went without. We just struggled for a moment.
So for me, I would agree. I think that God has put us through a lot of different things, especially in the financial realm. I'm not quite sure why. And I believe it's allowed us to not only build a stronger foundation within ourselves and our marriage and how we communicate, but to help others that we impact and that we're closest to. Because I think that it's not a coincidence that some of our friends or like family members have like seen tough times kind of similar to how we've seen. And because we've dealt with it first, especially like early on in our marriage, we gained a lot of wisdom like super early in that realm. And I think it was a great thing in hindsight that we were able to not only be able to help ourselves and use that for us, but to be able to like help others too. So, yeah.
Just pull out card. What's one area in our marriage where you think we need to invite God in more?
I definitely think in our quiet time. I think in our quiet time we have a lot of hustle and bustle outside of our quiet time. So, with work with you, with me with the kids all day, and then we get together and we talk to each other, and we have our own separate individual together time, like we're doing our own thing. And I think we could be a little bit more intimate in that sense together. I know we do a lot of it individually. But I think our quiet time at night when everything's quiet, our kids are to bed, everything's done, the house is shut down, we can just invite him more in together at that night. Did I say that?
I would say we've done a great job with keeping God first in our plans and always doing His will that He has in our lives. I think for both of us, we have to think bigger. I think even when we say we want to do something or we have a goal we want to achieve, we pray about it and God's will be done, but we don't think bigger. It's almost as if we're subconsciously putting a limit on what God can do. I think that's an area that we could definitely use God in more.
How do you think we've helped each other grow as individuals?
You've definitely helped me become more patient, more kind of like loving when it comes to the kids and everything. I know that, I don't understand why like something can't be done, but you bring that nurturing side to my father figure, and you just help me understand that, what marriage is about. Because having you as my wife and the things we've gone through is, been my rock. So you showed me that I really don't need the material things that I thought I needed growing up as a kid to define me as a man and a good husband. So I would say that.
Okay, that's good. I agree. I think for me, I think just a lot of the things that we've seen each other go through growing up, and the different challenges that we've seen each other, different good things, bad things. I think just as parents, as friends, as husband and wife, I think that there's just something about the way we uplift each other, and the way, no matter what kind of day we're having, like, I mean, some days I'm at my low, and some days it's you, and it's just, we don't care. We just reach out our hand and we just pick each other up. And I just think it helps us grow. It helps us to put each other first, even when, like, hey, I've had a bad day too, but it's just like, you may need it just a little bit more than I have. And I think just being able to put each other first in those super times of need, and just in areas and certain circumstances where we would normally just be like, I just need to cool off, or I just need this time for me, we put each other first. And I think coming together as a covenant, as one, that's super important, because we spend our whole lives just worrying about us. So since we're being together and us learning how to do that for each other, I think it's helping us grow individually, but together. Okay, awesome.
When do you feel the closest to me?
That's hard. I mean, honestly, it's cliche, but I'm gonna say, like, all the time. Like, you really just are like you're just like my shadow. You're like, even when you're not there, you're there. Like, things happen throughout the day, and I know I can't just always pick up the phone call, you're at work, and it's just like, I'm just like, Josh, and then you come home, and I'm just like, yeah, like, I've been talking all day. I'm like, well, let me tell you, I'll just like run off. It's just like, whenever I'm talking to someone else or anything I'm doing, there's just always a part of you in everything I do. It's either something you said, it's a joke that we have, it's inside something. So honestly, I can't think of a time where I'm like, I'm not as close to you, because, I mean, even when you're like, I'm gonna go watch football in the room, you stay here with the kids, I'm like, how am I gonna be in there? I'm like, how am I gonna be in there? You get up and go to the bathroom, like, where you going? You like, to the bathroom. And I'm just like, okay, hurry up. Like, I just always want you close to me. I know we have our responsibilities and our duties and everything, so I'm like, no, that's not possible. And maybe one day, we can, get there to where you're just home all the time. That would be lovely. But it's all the time. You get on my nerves, that you always think it. Everything that I do, so the time.
I would say it's when you pray for me. When I come home frustrated about work, or you can tell you a challenge that I'm having at work. You can tell when I'm irritated about what's going on. And it's just those moments where, like, the next day, I'm just like sitting in the office, still kind of frustrated, but you send me that text saying that, you're praying for me, and you woke up and you uplift me and let me know the plans God has for me. And it's not ironic that those days get better. So I feel like that's when I'm the closest to you, because you keep me in prayer and when I'm out, so it's always appreciated.
Okay. What's a family value from your childhood you wish we incorporated more?
Honestly, I really don't have one. Only because, my parents divorced when I was early. I was like 8 years old. So, looking at what a man's supposed to do was just like, I didn't really have a good picture on that, which is why I have my own process of, I gotta make this amount of money. I have to accomplish this. I have to do all these things before I'm a father, before I'm a husband, or really before I gotta do all that just to even feel like I'm successful at being a man. And then just being able to have God break those things while I was single, to not put a timeline and not put like my standard, but his standard on how I'm supposed to carry myself and how I'm supposed to lead a household. I think that's been the biggest impact, is letting go of the things that I thought I knew and let God reshape the way I thought, and really submit to his will on how I was supposed to be. So I really can't say there's traditions wish you would have incorporated in ours?
I can say similar to that answer, just a little different. And I know this is kind of something that we can't really help in a sense. Just with, and I know, we talked earlier about, stuff that we have had with mom and stuff like that. I just feel like in my childhood, I spent just a lot of time like at grandma's house. And it was just like, some of my best memories are just like being in the backyard, doing stuff at grandma's house. So I think, the babies are kind of young. The babies are young. Maya's getting up there, so they're getting up there. So I know that time is coming where everybody can just go outside. We'll see y'all later. No in and out the house. That type of thing. So it's just, that's what I want. I want them to be able to experience that. And I know, we don't have my mom to be able to do that, so it like sucks. But mama, she drives anything, to be there for them. And she talks all the time about how she's going to redo the backyard, and it's going to be a pool, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And I just like can't wait for that to all be done, and all the kids can go to Mimi's house and just be in the backyard and just play, get all itchy from the grass. Like, that's just the peak of my childhood, is just being outside and all day, just in the pool, in the yard, in the park, in this, in that, find something to do. So I just can't wait to see all of them enjoying that. With me and everything like that stuff. That's what I'm excited to do.
Was there ever a time when you were afraid we wouldn't make it, and what got us through?
Oh, yeah. Yes and no. Because I always knew we were going to make it. But sometimes it doesn't feel like, like I know. So it's like deep down, I know. Like God's going to get us through. He's done it before. But sometimes the flesh, sometimes just in your day-to-day, when you're looking at things, when you're looking at accounts, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, when you're looking at your situation, it's just like, okay, I know what I know, but I also know what I see. I don't see, it don't look good. So we've been through a few things, some losses, some trials, especially recently. We're just waiting for things to come through. That, I know we joked about it, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little uncomfortable in my seat over here. You want to like switch things up? You want to do that? You're like, no, you always reassure me, even when I get a little uncomfortable. Like, you always reassure me. You never shake. And there's something about that I can never, I understand it, but it's just something about that is so admirable for me, for you, that I just can't seem to master, no matter how much I try. It's just a small piece of me that I just can't, and you just do it so well. And I know you probably, take it into your prayer time. I know you take it to God. But when it comes to me, and when I feel like things are starting to just fall apart or like fall off me, I'm just like getting nervous. You just like regroup me, and you just reassure me, like, we got this. No matter what, you're not alone. I'm with you. So I'm going to say yes and no, because we've seen it, but he's never failed us then. He's not going to fail us now. He never will. So always have the faith, but we have definitely seen some trying times. So I'll say, yeah.
I wouldn't say there's some times where I thought we wouldn't make it. I thought that we would probably come out of it, I guess, kind of damaged. And like you said, it was whether it's financial, and it's whether it's things that we're adapting to, far as having grown our family. And we always, like, we talked about it before, where when we did lose mom, and we were still going through our day-to-day with work. And I told her, I don't know how we honestly didn't go crazy, and it was truly just God's peace. I know I can only say it's going to be okay so many times, whether in that situation or whether we're going through our financial struggles. It's just God's peace is what got us through that. And we actually came out stronger after all those things, although like in the midst of it all, we're just like, I don't know the words to say. All we really can do is pray. And, once the once God speaks or something else happens, then we'll go from there. But right now we played all our cards. And this is what we have to lean on right now. So I would say it's in those times where I'm like, yo, are we gonna come out of this damaged? Or we're coming out of this like not as strong as before? And by God's grace, like we actually came out stronger after every single situation. But in the midst of it all, I couldn't say I was like truly confident. But like you said, it was the flesh. That's why I try to make sure I keep the flesh in check and always keep God first and make sure I, keep His word.
Now, let me just say this. When I read the question, I'm thinking, made out the situation. I definitely wasn't thinking was we gonna make it, because you ain't going over, honey. You tell it to me. That ain't never gonna. That ain't right.
You're wrong?
No, I just said it could be, could be, I don't know. But I just want to make that clear.
Okay.
That's not what I meant to me. Okay. So what's an area of your life where you still feel like you're growing, and how can I support you? Good question.
Yes. I would say still trying to find my purpose. I always talk to you about what I do day to day. I just don't want it to feel like I'm not being impactful. I don't want it to feel like I'm not doing God's will. And I'm still trying to find, something where I can, I was like, I want to make God proud, but God loves us. And I think I'm harder on myself, and you always kind of reel me back. So just continue to be that support for me. You've been my biggest cheerleader. So always keep me along when I'm too hard on myself. But, as we continue to make these jumps in life, we've had a lot of successes in our marriage. You're always right there to, hype it up. So I would say continue to be that cheerleader for me and always keep me in line to know that I don't have to do the most to please God or get God's approval. You always make sure that I'm in line with that.
I agree. I think with being a mom and a wife, you kind of get lost in the sauce and in the redundance of it all, and just, I got to make sure everybody else is okay. So, I know I talk a lot about just like, okay, well, I got to make sure I'm good, and I know I've had a few moments where it's like, maybe I'm not so good. And what do I need to do to make sure that I'm taking care of me? Because if I'm not doing anything for myself, then how can I get my best to you guys? And so I think also we trying to find my purpose outside of being like a mom and a wife, because I can be more than just that. And I think it's easy for, someone who loves being in those roles to get okay with just being or thinking like that is the purpose. And although that is the purpose, there can be more. And I think I'm scared of what that looks like, because I don't want to take away from what I give to you guys. I want to make sure that I give you guys my all. But I think that I just have to realize and look at ways that I can pivot and how I can make it work and still do things to make me happy and things for like me and things for the kingdom or whatever God has for me outside of my family, and not be scared to take that leap, especially if it's like presented to me, however way that looks. So just keep pushing me, when I mention things and when I, say things and then I second guess myself because, I do that. And you always be like, well, you said. I'm like, well, I know. So just keep doing that. And I appreciate you for all up until this time. It's been a lot, the three. But you never let me just completely forget about myself. It's always like, Shan, you need 20 minutes. Go. I'll see you in an hour. I'll see you in a couple hours. And I appreciate that and just keep doing this. So I definitely think we can both see each other go to new heights. We just have to be okay and welcome in with however that looks and not be afraid.
Cool.
We're looking for singles ready to embark on their own journey to love. Don't miss out on future episodes. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Right Connection.